Okay, I think we are recording. Um, my name is Julie Powers, and I am here in Missouri, and it's a rainy day here, but I have all kinds of sunshine on the other end of this Zoom call because I am very fortunate to be talking to Leanne Harris, who is a National Marketing Director with the Juice Plus Company. And we are sideline friends. We are not in each other's business. She has no reason to be on this call with me today other than she's a really nice person, and that's kind of how our community works, is that we're all here living one mission together to inspire healthy living around the world. And my vision for this call was that she and I were going to share our stories with you so that you can hear from two moms who were in separate but kind of similar situations, in that we both have the experience of being the moms of special needs kids. And while Leanne's daughter is a grown adult now, and mine is no longer on earth, it's something that's very near and dear to our hearts. And so we just want to share a little bit of our stories and then have a short conversation that possibly will resonate with you and or someone that you know, and just kind of help fill in some gaps in information that you may not be aware of. So we're going to get started, and I will introduce Leanne and just give you my story right after that, and then she will get to talk a little bit more than me, which is a good thing. So like I said, Leanne is, she's a sideline. She's a national marketing director with the Juice Plus Company. She lives in still Denton, Texas. Is that correct? And she was a radiology technologist, okay? And she was in nuclear medicine, and she did a lot of work with cancer patients, bariatric patients, for 30 plus years in the healthcare system. And she has 3 grown children, right? Am I remembering this correctly? And Angela is her daughter with special needs. And I think that it's really cool that we get to have these kinds of conversations and share them with people. My story is that about 13 years ago, when my daughter Emma was still alive, she required 24-hour medical care. When she was 3 months old, she stopped breathing one day, and we don't know exactly how long, but up to about 15 minutes. And she suffered a traumatic brain injury from that lack of oxygen. And so she required all this medical care for the rest of her life. And so we had a revolving door of people in our home, therapists and nurses, and it was a community effort to take care of Emma. And she lived for 8.5 years. And 13 years ago, while she was still alive, somebody came to me and wanted to tell me about Juice Plus, because they knew that I was not taking care of myself, because I was taking care of her and my son and working full time and pretty much going a little bit cuckoo crazy. And so I didn't have time to listen. I literally said, do you have any idea what my life is like? I can't even read this brochure. And so literally it was 3 or 4 months later when I took the time to listen to the CD, which was Dr. Du Bois, who is this amazing doctor who we all just love dearly. And he was talking about the science behind Juice Plus. And I was literally in the van on the way to a doctor's appointment in St. Louis with my daughter and my mom in the back seat. And I learned that it's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, powdered produce. And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. I don't eat fruits and vegetables. I need this stuff. I need to be as healthy as possible. And so I used it to fill in the gaps because I was not eating properly and I wasn't taking care of myself. So even after Emma passed away, it was July of 2007 when she left the earth. And she was 8.5 years old. And she went on to be super happy and joyful now with nothing holding her back. But I stayed here on earth. And guess what? I could have taken the time to clean, dice, and slice and prepare and eat a whole lot more fruits and vegetables when I had the time, but I knew I wasn't going to. And so I kept Juice Plus in my life. But one thing about it is that nobody ever told me, and I don't know that they even thought to tell me, that I could have used the capsules and opened them up and put them into her feeding tube, that I could have used our complete drink mix in her feeding tube. She was pretty much a 3-month-old for her entire 8.5 years. And so we did every single thing for her. And she was fed exactly what the doctors told us to feed her. And God love them, doctors don't necessarily have nutritional training, right? And so we just did what they said. And I think that we could have given Emma a much more nutritionally robust diet. Not that it would have changed anything in her life, but it would have made me feel a lot better knowing she was getting a lot better nutrition. So I know there are a lot of parents out there that have special needs kids all across all different kinds of issues. But Leanne, your daughter is 30 years old now, Angela, and she has Down syndrome. And I know that her issues are different than what we had with Emma, but yet we're still, together on this. So if you want to give a little bit more of your story and then tell us what you know about dealing with her diet and some of the concerns and things that have come up over the years.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you, Julie. I learned about Juice Plus when Angela was 10, and I, like you, heard from Dr. Du Bois on a CD while we were driving down the road because we were busy parents. I had 3 children. I worked full time. And unfortunately, our health was kind of a mess. Angela had had 10 surgeries by the time she was 10. So kids with special needs have more oxidative stress, more inflammation. They need more antioxidants. I didn't know that back then. And the people in the Down syndrome world used a nutritional supplement called Nutravine D. We would draw her blood, send it to California, then we would get a sample out of Canada and mix it in her drink. And I knew I couldn't take away Down syndrome, but I knew, what if I could give her an edge? So I was always looking for something. And the older she got, the pickier she got with her food, as well as my other kids. So when I learned about Juice Plus at the hospital from a nurse, by listening to that CD that she gave me, it just made sense, because how else was I going to get broccoli and beets and spinach and kale into my family's diet every day? I was so tired of fighting that battle at the kitchen table, because we know we can't make anybody eat anything they don't want to eat, even our husbands, right? So we said yes to Juice Plus 18 years ago, and it totally transformed my family's health. Angela, who always had sinus infections, was always on an antibiotic. I don't think she's been on 2 or 3 antibiotics in the last 18 years. She's thriving. She's doing wonderful, as well as the rest of my family. And it's totally changed the direction of our life. As a matter of fact, I went back to school to pursue a master's in holistic nutrition because I fell in love with the study and the links between nutrition and lifestyle and disease. And so I worked with sick people my whole career. And now, being in the world of special needs, of course, I ran around with parents who had kids with autism and all kinds of, special needs. And, we were all just doing the best we could. We just didn't know what we didn't know. And I tell you what, I'd give anything to be able to go back, because I think of all the ear infections, the whole inner ear, the language development, all the emergency room visits, all the nights of crying and no sleeping, and all the things that, we experienced just because we didn't know. It would have been totally different. So what gives me great joy today is knowing that, we wanted Angela to move out and have a life of her own. She didn't want to live with her parents forever. And I can't imagine why. But I don't know what they're eating. I don't know where they're going or what they're doing. And so I'm very thankful that today, even this weekend, we're about to move her to her next home that's a little bit closer to us, that she's getting her Juice Plus capsules, her plant-based omega, and her complete shake every single day. So she's getting roughly 60 pieces of produce in her diet, in 5 minutes, and it's just really simple. And so I'm thankful for that. And I cannot imagine, where she would be if she didn't have that. Of course, anytime you have special needs, there's usually secondary complications that come with that. So optimal nutritional status is the number one thing that we can do for our kids with or without special needs, or any other family member. So in a nutshell, that's kind of my story. So I'll let you
Well, what I'm interested in is whenever you first introduced Juice Plus and the Complete into Angela's diet, was she willing and able to eat it right away, or did you have to use some tricks to get, her to like the Complete? Because it is such amazing nutrition, and I don't think that a lot of people still know exactly what it is. But the Complete is just a powder. It is the macronutrition that has the fat, the good fats, the fiber, the protein. It has, the really good plant nutrition. And you can, it's chocolate and vanilla. So you can make it into a shake or a hot chocolate or a pudding or plant cakes or protein balls or so many different things, right? But did you have to kind of disguise it whenever you first introduced it to her, or?
That's a great question. Well, back when we started Juice Plus, there were sweet tarts, and you better believe I had to disguise those.
Right, right.
But now, no. And my kids loved it. Now, I will tell you, I work with a lot of people whose kids have texture issues. They have sensory issues. They don't want colors. They don't want textures. And we do have a lot of ways to do that. And I actually work with a big population of people on tube feedings. And so I am very used to, pardon me, used to helping people get it in their body in some form or fashion. So the nice thing about the capsules is you can open them up, and like you said, they're the oil in the engine. They're, the vitamins and minerals that we need to have the enzymes and the oil in the engine. We need it. And that's easy to open those up, and the gummies are great. But the shakes, again, the texture issues, they can smell things. The kids with sensory issues can smell it coming a mile away. So it's a matter of doing baby steps. Sometimes, we put the powder in the yogurt or in whatever they will eat. And we just go very slow with it. I've even had a mom who has a daughter with autism go as far as to inject it, make a paste and inject it inside of her child's cupcake. It was the only thing she would eat. And lo and behold, if her taste buds did not change over time, because she was getting broccoli, spinach, beets, and kale.
A broccoli cupcake. I have never even considered that. That's a good tip.
This was a committed and dedicated mama to figure out a way to get this in her child's body. And through metabolic programming, it changed her taste buds. And so she started eating more diverse foods, and amazing results happened with her behavior and her meltdowns, because she was getting the things that she was missing.
Right. One thing that I know that Dr. Sears talks about, Dr. Bill Sears, who most people know as America's pediatrician, he's written 1,000 books on parenting and so many other things and brain health, is that he talks about when babies are at the age where they can start eating solid foods, is to use the capsules and sprinkle it on their tongues. And I know some parents will just put it on the tip of their finger and sort of hold it in their mouths and let the baby suck on it. And that starts that metabolic programming for the kids. And so I think especially if you know that your child has some kind of a medical concern early on, then it's even more important to start that as early as possible when they're not even really even at that point where texture and color and smell is a thing yet, because the brain hasn't even come to that conclusion. So I think that's really important. And, I didn't know what I didn't know, as I've said before, but I didn't realize the difference between supplements and real food, because before I knew about Juice Plus, my cabinet was full of supplements because I knew I wasn't eating right. I knew I wasn't. And I was feeding Emma what I was told to feed her, but I never even dreamed that she couldn't possibly be getting the right amount of nutrition. And my son, who was 2 years older than her, we put him on the Children's Health Study at that time. And thankfully, he was able to get that for free, which is now called the Family Health Study. And that's another great way for parents who have these amazing children with these special needs to get it for themselves, because the caregivers must stay healthy. We cannot pour from an empty cup. And I wore myself out I totally wore myself out for 8.5 years, and I wasn't a very nice person to be around because I was exhausted, and I didn't take care of myself. I didn't eat right. And so if you are one of those people out there listening, or you know somebody who's in that situation where you know they're not eating right, they're not getting enough sleep, which is still my problem. They don't drink enough water. Maybe they're living on Diet Cokes and Mountain Dews and Ding Dongs or Oreos. I mean, I drank a lot of Pepsi and ate a lot of Oreos in my past. But real food has real nutrition. And, something as simple as, a vitamin that says supplements on the back only has 20 to 30 different vitamins and minerals in it. But an apple, oh my gosh, has 10,000 phytonutrients in one apple because God put it there for us to eat and to work in synergy together. And so we have this great thing called Juice Plus that allows us to get all of those things in a very simple form, not to take the place of any real foods and that you can eat, plant-based, but just to fill in those gaps. So is there any other scenario that you've come across? I know you have so many customers and team members that have story after story after story of better health because of the nutrition that they're getting, and the kids on these different spectrums of health concerns. And we always say Juice Plus is just food. It is not a cure for any medical condition, but it gives our cells the nutrition that it needs to be as healthy as possible and to, better fight off things like those secondary conditions. I know Emma had multiple surgeries as well from being immobile, from being in her wheelchair. And so if I had known, gosh, I would have just flooded her body with all those plant nutrients so that she could heal very quickly. But I didn't know.
I think so often of the parents that are taking care of children in the hospitals and what they have to fuel their body. I mean, there's McDonald's in the lobby, and I've even been to St. Jude's where there's like a Baskin and Robbins, that's on the floor in the cafeteria there. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I know that that's a great treat, but could we find a healthier alternative? Could we make some complete ice cream that's dairy-free, that won't feed inflammation? So I think the key is living foods versus dead. That's what's going to fuel us and give us the energy to do what we need to do. Like you said, the lack of sleep. What I'm seeing a lot of with children with special needs is, of course, they're not eating the plants, so they get constipated, which causes them to be cranky, and they're not sleeping, so mom and dad is not sleeping. So one of the things that I've really appreciated so much with Juice Plus just recently is that I have a new grandbaby. And mom and dad were both on Juice Plus. She used Juice Plus as her prenatal. And of course, this baby's getting amazing breast milk full of Juice Plus and omegas and complete. And of course, now they're putting it everywhere. The baby is 11 months old now, and she's drinking the smoothies. She hasn't even had a sniffle, and I would give anything if I would have known this. So something I can appreciate too about Juice Plus is it is so portable. So I travel a lot. I think of parents that are at the hospital, they can make a shake in their room. There's no reason why, I was caring for my mom at the end of her life, and I was making complete smoothies and feeding it to her in the bed. I mean, she loved them. And so it's easy to do. It's convenient. And had there not been what was called the Children's Health Study back in 18 years ago, I don't know that I would have said yes. But I said yes because of the kids. So I love that the Healthy Starts for Family program is a modeling study where if the parent or the sponsoring adult will put Juice Plus in their body, they're able then to give it to a child in their life for no cost for up to 4 years. And it's like, do as I do, not as I say. We're going to take care of ourselves together. It's a family wellness program. And I love that. So I love that it's clean and safe. I love the research. So when you asked if I had stories, boy, do I have stories. I mean, so many stories, my own kids being the first ones. But I love that the stories all go back to the research because I'm a research person. And so when you look at a nutritional supplement of any kind, the first thing you want to see is, like you said, the nutrition facts. The body knows what to do with food first. And then it has the NSF certification, which to me is the point to it. Right, the little black NSF. That is so important to me because with 5,000 new supplements being on the market, being put on the market every year, 5,000 new supplements, we have no idea what's in them. I just found out that something I've been putting in my body the other day with an organic certification was covered in pesticides. I'm like livid. And I'm like, I love that this certifications, the third party testing for cleanliness and safety is there and it's in place and there's so much research. So these kids that are under extra stress, whether it's surgeries or doctors or whatever it is, they need more nutrition than the average bear. And so it's 7 to 13 servings a day right now. Canada just went to 13 to 18.
What? I didn't realize that they had made that official.
Look at their plate. They've taken milk off the plate, and they're asking us to get some of our proteins and calciums from plants, which are full of them.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah.
So you're never going to be able to get too many. I mean, so obviously I eat plants all day long. I still don't think I'm getting 13 servings.
Well, and you know what? Something that I just want to make sure we touch on before we end, because I don't want this to go too long, is that, with the supplements, when it says supplement facts on the back, there are a lot of supplements that are targeted for children that are like, they look like gummy bears or they're like the little sweet tart kind of things. But they are isolated megadose synthetic supplements. And if a child, whether they have special needs or not, if a child eats a whole bunch of those at once, and the parent calls poison control, the poison control person is going to say, please get your child to the emergency room right away. This is a life or death situation. And, they need to have their stomach pumped. This is a big deal. But for those parents who have been in this situation before where they have our chewables packets, there are kids that have gotten into those chewables packets, and because they taste really good, even though they really are just fruits, vegetables, and berries, not isolated synthetic supplement, forms of vitamins and minerals, but real food, they've eaten the whole bag at once. And when you call poison control, they'll laugh and they'll say, you need to pick up that baby and put them on the potty because they're probably going to have a colon explosion. But just think of it as if they've gone to a giant salad bar and they have literally eaten everything on the salad bar, because it's just so much nutrition and good stuff that the body is just a little overloaded, but they're not going to get sick from it. And they certainly don't need to have their stomach pumped. And so I think that, is a huge thing to know for peace of mind, that first of all, your kid's getting all this great nutrition, but if they eat too much of it, it's okay. It's okay. It's just good.
No colors or preservatives. And that's just, everybody's putting stuff like that in their supplements to make them.
Right. The red dye, yellow dye, blue dye. There's aspartame and all kinds of fake sweeteners and things that your body just doesn't know what to do with it. And a lot of those things are causing more problems for our special needs kids on top of situations that they're already in. So can you think of anything else that we need to hit on before we end the recording?
I can't think of anything. I just want to all the special needs parents or providers or anybody, I just want to thank you for what you do. It's not easy and it takes courage, and I'm still walking through it. I'm still filing guardianship. I'm still going to meetings. I'm still doing all the things that we do and I wouldn't have it any other way. This is one thing. I love my easy button.
That was easy.
Out of all the hard things there are in life, the nutrition piece doesn't have to be hard. This can be easy.
Right. And there is a whole community of people in the Juice Plus family ready to help you. So if you know someone, whoever invited you to watch this video, you need to ask them questions about what is the best route for your family, because we only have a handful of products, because guess what? They're all plant-based, but all of them are really good. So you need to see which one is the best thing for you. Kids and parents take the same thing. They eat the same thing because It's just fruits, vegetables, and berries. We don't have one that's for senior citizens and one for athletes and one for sick people and one for healthy people and one for babies and one, we don't have that. We have fruits, vegetables, and berries the way that they were created by nature, vine ripened, non-genetically modified, totally pure, NSF certified. And so it's.
Can I say one last thing? One last thing.
Yeah.
I was in a meeting and I got to hear some preliminary research on the omegas, and I'm so excited. Everybody needs omegas. We can't make them. They're critical for brain function, gut function. And guys, with fruits and vegetables, 2 + 2 does not equal 4. 2 + 2 = 10. And we are learning that even though there's smaller amounts of the things that we need in them, they are doing massive things in our body. It doesn't, like you said, it's minuscule amounts of a lot of things that make the difference. So I'm really excited about the new research coming out.
Oh, I'm very excited to hear it because I think it's going to be amazing. And, a lot of people say, how many servings are Juice Plus capsules? And I'm like, they're not. It's very much so a pun intended. It's apples to oranges. You can't compare it because it's powdered produce. You don't have all the pulp and fiber and water that's in a piece of fruit or in a leaf of kale. But it's like I say, what if you went out and you bought those 30 things and you took a bite out of them every single day? You just took a bite out of every single one of those every single day. Wow. That's a lot of stuff in tiny little amounts that work in your body and help it just work better. Just help it work better. So thank you, Leanne, for taking your time to do this. I'm going to stop the recording. We could probably talk for the next 10 hours about the. Oops, did I mute myself?
Yeah, go ahead. We can talk
where was I?
for the next 10 hours, but we're not going to bore.
Okay, yeah, I accidentally hit the mute, which is probably a good thing. All right, so I'm going to send this off, and thank you again, Leanne, and I'm going to stop the recording.